This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yeah, baby. There you go. See? Just for this segment, I whipped out my commemorative 1991 Marlins hat.
They started playing 93. How could it be 91?
Well, because remember, they started the whole Erie Sailors and all that kind of stuff. And so they were like promoting the franchise that it was coming. So I believe our Erie Sailors started in 91 with the minor. Remember that we first started with the minors for a year or two, and then we got our major league team. And so they dished out these hats in 91 to kind of promote that the Marlins were coming in 93. So how about that? So there you go. This is a 32-year-old hat almost, man. It's crazy.
Nice.
This hat is almost as old as Mike McDaniel.
Very good.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Let me put on my headsets to make sure I hear you perfectly here. Well, they got good news, right? With Terron Armstead, the strained pec is, because everybody was worried about the torn pec, and that would be, forget about it. That's catastrophic there. Yeah. So maybe back by the Chargers game, if maybe in a couple of weeks or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how long a strained pec takes. Have you been able to inquire?
No, and the thing with pec strains is there are varying grades, and how long he's going to be out depends on the severity of it. It's not a great sign to me that they immediately ruled him out at the start of the second half. I think hoping that he only misses the 49ers game and then can come back against the Chargers sounds like a little bit of wishful thinking. I mean, that'd be great. Hell, if you could play effectively next Sunday, that'd be even more awesome. But I don't know. Hoping that Mike McDaniel will tell us more when he speaks in his weekly day after the game, media session later this afternoon. But we'll see. I'm not sure he's going to provide much more clarity than saying he's probably out for this week, and then we'll see from there.
Has he ever provided any clarity for any injury for you so far this year?
No, there have been. Yeah, I mean, he confirmed, but it's usually after it's leaked out to the national folks, and then he confirms it. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. Right.
No, you're right.
Right, and that's right. It's just like, okay, so Rap Sheet and Pelissaro got the injury, and that's all you're going to get now. He's not going to say anything. He's not going to tell you when he's going to return. None of that. I mean, he just hasn't. That hasn't been his MO. So now let's play X's and O's now.
Mm-hmm.
And whether he likes it or not, and he got cocky yesterday, and he stayed aggressive and paid the price, and Tua was getting slammed. He's going to have to adjust because now he's going to play an even better front seven this week than what he played against Houston. You got to go max protect here, bro. And if there was ever a team and a pair of receivers and a quarterback built for max protect, it's these guys right here, because there are no corners in the history of the NFL that are going to stay with those two guys step by step. Okay. And if you at least go and say, all right, we're going to play, I would imagine that Shell's going to play right tackle because that's where he belongs. And then on left tackle, you're either going to use Greg Little or Austin if he can come back. But then I'd use a sixth lineman. And I don't care if it's Austin. I don't care if it's Michael Dieter. I don't care if it's Durham Smythe. But I would be max protect, especially on that Bosa side. And I would have Bosa with double teams the entire freaking day and take my chances that way and see if I can actually win this game against San Francisco. But if I'm going to go in there with whatever five you want, I'm not comfortable whatsoever.
Oh, no, I agree. And then you saw how badly it dissipated and went to crap after Armstead left. I mean, the stat I came up with, or that that I dug up, which is completely crazy. Like in the previous 4 games, Tua had been sacked twice. In the first 3 series without Armstead, he got sacked 4 times. I mean, and these were not coverage sacks. I mean, those guys were on him like fast, like he never had a chance. And it was
year 1 and year 2 all over again.
It was, correct. And it's crazy. So yeah, no, your point makes sense. Obviously, if you max protect, then it allows more defenders to be on Hill and Waddle. I mean, they were both going to get doubled. I'll give you something else also to consider for X's and O's. Screen passes.
Yes.
On a draw play here and there. Things like that. I don't think you're going to be able to feed on a steady diet of the 20-yard deep slant or deep in or crossing route where Hill and Waddle have been open the entire season. And if not them, then Trent Sherfield. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get a whole lot of those against the 49ers with the offensive line the way it's going to be. So there'll have to be some adjustment. And this is also a game where, and we saw some good signs yesterday. It was encouraging that the defense produced the 3 takeaways and the 5 sacks, because this could be a game where the Dolphins need to lean heavily on the defense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. You look at overall on offense. How would you handle it? Do you agree with me? Because see, one of the things that reared its ugly head yesterday, and it's really not their fault. It's kind of human nature. All right. And it just became like a domino effect. And I explained this in the postgame show, not to make excuses for people, but poor Brandon Shell. He has gotten in shape, earned the job, but was playing everything on the right side. And now, my God, now you swing him over to the left, and now he habitually has to change everything that he does, and he's really not a left tackle. So now he's in a position where it doesn't help him. Greg Little then is thrusted in. Greg Little hasn't played in weeks, and he's not very good. So all of a sudden now there he is. Skylar Thompson hasn't played in weeks. He gets in there, not sharp. He misses some open throws. You kind of saw that in the game, that some of these guys were thrusted into spots. And then unfortunately, because you haven't played in a while, and because you're not Don Strock or something, or you're not Jeff Ulenake or something that you can like sit there and wait for, you can play 3 positions and just, Dellenbach, you need me to play this, that? Okay, yeah, I'm ready to go because you're a seasoned veteran. Those guys didn't have all of that kind of stuff going. You know what I mean? And even Austin Jackson, he doesn't have a lot of playing time over the last couple of weeks either. It was just a lot for certain guys to do. And then all of a sudden to make that quick transition and be effective. That was, I think, a real problem for them yesterday, that they had to count on so many people to play positions that really they weren't in a groove for at that moment.
Yeah, except, I will buy your point to a certain degree, but then the issue there is, let's be honest, Terron Armstead's a fabulous left tackle. It's not like he hasn't had injury issues. And if your solution is to have Brandon Shell replace him if something happens to him during a game, and we know Brandon Shell, as you mentioned very accurately, is a right tackle, not a left tackle, then should there not be a better plan in place than having Brandon Shell as your backup left tackle?
I think that they were afraid of putting Greg Little there. And so they said, well, let's try Brandon because, he's been playing well at right tackle. Maybe he can make the adjustment to left. No, he can't. And so I think that's the only reasoning I can come up, for it. You know what I'm saying? But they don't. I
would tell you though. Then if you're that scared of playing Greg Little, then develop somebody on the practice squad. And I mean, I like Greg Little; he's a really nice guy. But if you're more comfortable playing somebody who's clearly out of position with Brandon Shell going from right to left tackle because you're afraid of what Greg Little is going to do to you, that's a problem.
Okay, so this week, let's assume that there's going to be injuries, so you're going to need your replacements. So this week, you go back to putting Shell at right tackle. So who's your left tackle?
Wish.
Some guy goes to me, put Robert Hunt. I said, nope, you can't do that because now you start moving too many people. Plus the pocket is the most important thing for Tua. And Jones, Hunt, and Connor keep that pocket solid. The edges, you can still play with it fullbacks, with chipping and all that. Plus, it allows Tua that even if he sees the pass rushers, he can step into the pocket that is there solidly. If you replace Hunt, it creates a problem. So you're with me, it sounds like. No moving Hunt. So who's your guy at left tackle then?
Richmond and Webb available? No, that's rough. It's rough because I don't know, because we don't know the status of Austin Jackson. It's kind of sounds not great. Injury happened late. I don't even know 100% sure if it's the same ankle, if it's another ankle.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah. If he doesn't play, you do what? I look at the practice squad, and I don't know that they have any options other than Greg Little and then Brandon Shell at right tackle. And then, again, a lot of very quick passing, screens, draw plays, anything to slow down that pass rush.
Yeah, and a lot of what we saw in the first couple of years, it's going to have to be that quick strike offense. I mean, he's been the best under 2.5 seconds as it is this year, but on Sunday he may have to go under 2 seconds, not 2.5. He won't have that extra half a second against those guys.
No, and the other issue is, logically, if San Francisco knows this, you would expect them to crowd the line a little bit more and not give Tyreek and Jalen free releases off the line, and while having help behind them, so if they get beat at the line. So no, it's going to be quite the challenge. It's going to be a challenge regardless, because Frisco, newsflash, is pretty damn good on defense. And now with all the issues on the offensive line, it's going to be quite the challenge.
We kind of went over it throughout the year, and I was talking to you and most of the guys, and I would tell you that he's running roughshod. It was what I would say through the building. I said that many times last year about flow. And what are your thoughts on the whole CBS story? And then Tua being asked about it, and then Mike McDaniel, how he countered it with the 700 plays. When you start to hear about all of this stuff, does it make you almost admire more the player for being able to fight through all of this? Because for Tua to be able to fight through all of this, it's pretty special, I got to say, because I've watched Zach Wilson, how he acts. And then, and by the way, I can also watch a seasoned veteran like Aaron Rodgers, how he acts when he doesn't get his way. You know what I'm saying? And that dude had to fight through all that crap for the last 2 years. Your thoughts on that story?
No, there are a couple of things that stand out. Number one, for Tua, it says that there's a reason why he's always won big everywhere he's been, and he's got a great mentality and determination, and he's not somebody who's gonna. It's not about me, or causing issues, which is part of the problem that Zach Wilson is having. Like, you feel the offense let down the defense? No. Like Tua would not have answered that. Tua would have said, "Yeah, we need to help those guys out." And Aaron
did it
Rodgers,
yesterday. They did it yesterday. Yesterday, Tua and McDaniel both laid on the sword and said, "Oh, I've got to do better. We didn't put our guys in position," which is a bunch of bullshit. There's a bunch of guys that failed yesterday, but real leaders like your quarterback and your head coach, they've got to be lightning rods for your team, whether you like it or not. And you're the quarterback and you're the head coach. You need to take all the heat. You're going to get all the credit. You need to take all the heat for your guys, and they love that kind of shit. You know what I mean? They did it yesterday. They lied on the sword yesterday.
Right. Okay. Back to the other 2 points. The other 2 points I quickly had is, number one, it's not a good look if we're going to go ahead and throw all stones at Brian Flores for everything that happened and all the lack of belief in Tua. We need to also address other people in the front office and the coaching staff who let that happen, if we're going to be fair about this. That should not have been a situation that happened. Everybody should have been on board. Like, this is our guy and everything. And even this year, up to the point where they're still, they're still making a play for Tom Brady and then for Sean Payton. And then
owner, not the front office.
Okay,
owner,
that's fair. The other important point is, don't think for a second that Mike McDaniel laying out this vision that he had for Tua, wasn't a key part of him getting the job, because he basically, he established, this is what needs to be done with Tua. This is what I'm going to do with Tua, and you see what kind of quarterback he's going to become. And lo and behold, that's exactly
basically McDaniel had the same vision the guys that drafted him had. That's basically what it was, that they finally both had. That was the problem with Flo. He didn't have the vision of Greer, Allen, and McKenzie. Those guys wanted Tua. It's all the periphery stuff. It was Flo for Watson. It was the owners for Brady. It wasn't, because obviously they were getting cock blocked, just like Greer would get cock blocked with Gase and Tannenbaum around constantly. Now it's his show, but it wasn't his show because they screwed up.
And this is what happens when you have an organization that's not on the same page. You keep spinning your wheels and spinning your wheels and spinning your wheels. It never
correct.
moves
And they screwed up because they did the same thing with Gase, and now they didn't do it with McDaniel. With Gase and Flores, they both gave them power of personnel, and that was the mistake. This is where McDaniel does not have that. Greer learned his lesson and said, no, we're going to hire a guy. He can give us suggestions and all that, but we're going to draft the people that we want to draft. We're going to trade for the people we want to trade. We will obviously take suggestions from our coach if he likes Cater Kahu. We'll take suggestions from Mike McDaniel if he likes this running back or that receiver. Of course, we'll help him out with that. But we're going to get the players that we think are the best players for this team overall. To me,
here's important point. Important point also is and the other part too is the Dolphins. Last year, it was weird because while they're half jonesing for Watson, they're also trying to do everything they can to help out Tua. They hired Charlie Fry. They drafted Jalen Waddle. Whereas this year, it was from the start, all in, not only from personnel standpoint, but also from a public support standpoint. And that's made a huge difference.
Of course. My brother down in Coral Gables. Okay, I know Mario had a terrible year this year. He failed pretty much this year. But if he's going to succeed, this is what you got to do. You got to spend money as an administration. You got to improve the facilities. You got to have some NIL money. You got to pay for your assistant coaches. So they're doing all those things. So they finally did all the things they're supposed to do in order to win. Well, if you want your child to succeed, well, I hope you love them. I hope you support them. I hope you help them if they need help. That's kind of part of it. If you want your player to succeed, well, I hope you're going to help your player to, succeed by giving them what they need. You know what I mean? I to a certain extent, we can understand Aaron Rodgers' frustrations because they always fall short in providing weapons for the guy. And they never really give him big time weapons on a consistent basis. So I kind of understand his frustrations. Now, does he handle it the right way? No, not necessarily, but you got to support your people, bro. Employee, son, daughter, player, whatever it is. And finally, the Dolphins are doing the right thing.
No question. Aaron Rodgers is a different case. Dude, they maybe didn't give him a lot of high round wide receivers. They did give him Devontae Adams. They didn't give him a hell of an offensive line before it broke down with injuries. And then they gave him, $15 million a year. And then the guy with a brand new set of wide receivers, including a rookie second-round pick, who's very raw with a lot of talent. And Rodgers couldn't be bothered to go to the OTAs to, work on the rapport. And
like I said, he doesn't handle – there are frustrations, and I get it, but he doesn't handle it the right way is what I'm saying. And that's what I admire about Tua, that, man, he has been – brother, he was dealt a terrible deck of cards for 2 years, and somehow or another – he
plowed through it, and he did. I'd say it was sad to hear that the startling comment that the CBS telecast made. It was like him looking himself in the mirror and go, "Do I suck?" Damn.
It's tough, man. You're going through hell. The media's writing all kinds of shit about you. They're talking all kinds of shit about you. Fans are, calling you noodle arm and you can't take tough coaching, and you're hearing all this kind of shit. And as I've told you guys over and over, he listens, he hears.
They all do.
That's
I know.
That's what motivates his ass, bro. He hears it. Now, this bullshit that he doesn't, that's lies, bro. He hears it. That's why he plays like a maniac. And by the way, God, that was awesome yesterday. He avoids the two defenders and then throws the ball away. if that didn't convince you, he finally learned, because the last couple of weeks he's been throwing the ball away. He's been sliding. That play yesterday, I was very, very proud of him, bro.
Which play are you talking about?
The one where he's in the pocket. He dodges the first defender to try to sack him. Then the second one, while he's keeping his eyes out front, he sees the second one in the peripheral. He dodges him. He gets to the out of the pocket, and he throws it out of bounds right away. You don't remember that play?
No, the one play that stood out to me was a play where you meant, I think you referenced it earlier, where he got pressure from the edges, and he did a really very subtly swift move up in the pocket, and then he completed about a 20-yard pass to Cedric Wilson Jr. That But no, impressed me the most yesterday. It was a sweet play.
The one he avoids the sack and throws the ball away, because the old Tua would have, after he dodged 2 sacks, he would have held on to the goddamn ball, try to make a play, and he would have gotten walloped, because it would have been second 4 or 5 already in the damn pocket, and he throws it away. You should I have it on my Twitter feed. It's there, where I pointed it out, because to me that was just absolutely awesome. That's what's going to keep him alive. It's tough enough to stay alive in this damn game, as he got tripped up like a pretzel.
He took a very, very, very scary sack there. At that.
By the way, and the best part of it goes, all I was thinking about was spiking the ball to stop the clock.
Mm-hmm.
The freaking maniac, dude. It's like, I'm thinking, if that's a soccer player, the guy's in the hospital for the next 8 weeks.
No, he's rolling on the ground for 20 minutes.
Then go to the hospital for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're asking for red cards for the entire opposing team or something. I mean, if that happens in soccer, that would have been just absolutely terrible. All right. Mostert, you think they were kind of saving him for this week?
No, I don't think any decision was made with the next game in mind. I think he's got an issue that needs to be monitored, because it's a little bit worrisome. Again, he's been on and off the injury report with that knee the past few weeks, and he's got the history. So yeah. I'd keep an eye on him. I don't necessarily buy the idea that it was okay. We got a big game next week. No, I think he was just wasn't ready.
They've been so precautionary. That's why I ask you, because yesterday I told everybody, hey, don't panic yet about Armstead, because their history so far has been they take the precautionary approach with an injury, and let's hold you out, let's make sure you're good, and then we'll get you back. And that's what I was hopeful with the Armstead thing, and that's why I'm thinking with Mostert, it's like he's injured, but if it was a playoff game or something, he probably could suck it up. But because it's the Texans, we could get by with our backup running backs along with Wilson. Let's get him healthier for San Fran. That's the only reason I thought of it.
No, that's possible, and I think in combination with that is, like I said, it's kind of lingering a little bit, and if you keep playing him when he could play but he's not completely right, then you're just delaying the time when he's going to be completely right.
Right. I'm with you there 100%. By the way, have you gotten Dolphin fans to be unhappy about how the win ended in the second half or something? Have you gotten that? Because I've gotten some of those fans, and it's like, and I remind them that the Browns beat the Bucks, the Raiders beat the Seahawks, and the Jags beat the Ravens. Okay. So, appreciate every damn win that comes. 8-3. I think it was Joe Shad that I saw it on. I think it was 2001 the last time they were 8-3. I mean,
sounds right.
You got to appreciate this, dude.
Oh no, that's not no. Do you know the one I saw that I was like, are you serious? The one I saw was the Skylar sucks.
Come on, bro.
Dude. I'm like, really, dude? Seriously?
He's a young kid, a 7th rounder. He'll be fine. You could tell that was nerves. He was just off a little bit. He was, he'll be fine. I'm not.
He had an offensive line that can hold blocks. I mean,
that too.
Seriously, it's just.
Yeah, that too. But he'll be fine.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They played like shit the second half. And then Houston's got the ball with like 5 minutes left, like at their 40-yard line, down 2 scores now, and it's like, what is this?
Yeah. And I tweeted out right there. I said they score a touchdown, they're going to bring Tua back, and sure enough, they They said it after the press conference. Yeah, there was some talk. Hey, if they score here, we need you to get back in. And it reminded me, dude, was it – I talked about this in the postgame. Was it Matt Castle that came in and Jason Taylor intercepted him, took it for a touchdown, and then they had to bring Brady back? Or was it Jimmy Garoppolo that threw the interception, Taylor took it back for a touchdown, and they had to bring Brady back in a game that they pulled Brady against the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium? Do you remember that game that I'm talking about?
It wouldn't. I don't think it would have been.
I think it was Castle.
Yeah, I think that sounds more right.
I think it was Castle.
Might have been like I think it may have been like the 07 game where the Patriots won like 49-28 or something.
I don't know exactly the score, but I remember that Miami, like they were up by like 3 scores, and then here Jason Taylor intercepts Castle, takes it in for a touchdown, and they're like, "Oh no, we got to get Brady back in there again." And Brady comes in, drives him for a touchdown, and then he sits out for the rest of the game after that. But I remember that's what it kind of reminded me of. I'm like, oh my God, if Houston scores, this is where you got to like bring Tua back and hopefully behind that line, my God, if he can survive.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
That was the worst part about it. All right, what do you got going on?
Take a couple of hits,
What did you say?
I say you don't want to bring him back in and have him take a couple more hits,
Yeah, he took too many yesterday as it is. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated? AllDolphins.com. You must bookmark. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Busy day. So already up are the snap count observations, an updated look at the rest of the schedule with a lot of flex possibilities here. I'm seeing definitely one more primetime game the rest of the way. I'm seeing maybe 2 primetime games, and I don't know if the NFL will go as far, but there are 3 games that look to me like easily could be flexed. My writer, Dante Collinelli, is going to add a story on the defense and kind of like a stellar / breakout performance and a couple more things, including the Mike McDaniel press conference takeaways. Hopefully we get some more details on Terron Armstead. I'm sure he's going to be asked obligatory, is this the week Byron Jones starts practicing? We'll see. That'd be great. That kind of semi-makeup for Terron Armstead being out.
That would help out a little bit. That would be nice. That way you're going to get him in a couple weeks back onto the field. That would be awesome. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Alain, as always, you're a stud. We'll catch up later in the week, my friend.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
You got it. There you go. The great Alain Poupart. Great breakdown. As always, hour number 3 is ready. We're going to start it off. And Andy Behrens is ready to go to talk a little fantasy football with our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. So line up those fantasy questions right now. Andy Behrens is next.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.